Hi there, Sim Sports fans. This is Morgan. I run the Nightmare Stables. I also run the Bargain Bred Racing Series. The series is getting kicked off here when I'm recording this video here, March of 2018. First stakes races occur here coming up. Tons of 2-year-old races coming up in the series. And so this series is open to everyone in the sim. The series is for runners that are cheaply bred, basically. I'm going to go over here to our rules page real quick. And we call these bargain breds. These are going to be runners that are bred for 120 points or less. These are scratch bred runners. No mares, no he mares, none of that. Scratch bred only. And one of the things that I do ask is that you have proof of cost, and I ask you to grab a screenshot of your sire shares. And we'll go through that here in the video. You can get claims or auctions and have them also participate in the series. I just have to ask that those be obvious bargain breds, meaning, it's obvious they're 80, 100 points or less, and there's not much debate on whether that was a cheap runner or not. Another thing to keep in mind for the series is that Simulated Sports does offer a 50% discount just about every December, I think, at least for the last several years, for sires that are 125 points or less. So you can get a 120 point sire for 60 points, for example. And that sire share would not be eligible to be used in the series. So you just want to be very aware of that when you're purchasing sire shares in December for that discount. I will reject those runners there that get submitted here to the series. So what I want to do here is just step through breeding a bargain bred. And so, one of the things that I always suggest to people is that you probably want to try and use sires that you're interested in or you want to learn about, something along those lines. At least for me, it's more fun that way. I do go to the track fairly often. Looking through past performances, I'll see pedigrees or I'll see runners, and that'll get me interested in certain types of runners or certain types of sires and dam sires. So in my Nightmare stables, I do have a stable that I've called CA Bred or California Breds. I've kind of been interested in using some California-based sires. And so one of the first things that I'm going to do is I'm in the breeding section here, and I'm on the Find Sires link here. And I want to breed a 2-year-old, so I'm going to go ahead and select 2-year-old. And in the locations, I'm going to go ahead and select California here and just hit update. There's a lot of sires that stand in California, so there's going to be several pages here to kind of look through. Now, you kind of want to strategize a little bit. In this case, I think I want to try to breed a dirt runner that can probably be sprint if needed, maybe get around a ground a little bit too. Kind of a versatile type runner I'm going to be looking for, I think, as I'm rolling through here. And the way I typically spend my points is I typically spend most of them in the dam sire or dam sire slot. I usually go for an inexpensive sire. That I always think that the female side of the pedigree tends to offer the more class in the pedigree a lot of times. Of course, that's just a theory I have. I've never really had success, for instance, like taking an 80-point sire and pairing him with 10-point dam sire, 20-point dam sire. I just never really have success. I always have my best success with cheap sires, so I'll be looking for a cheaper sire. But I also want to choose a cheaper sire that I think can produce stakes winners. So I'm going to use a couple of tools to help me kind of identify some of those guys here. I think there's 3 pages here in California Breds, and there's a lot here, and obviously some of them I'm not going to be able to use in the Bargain Bred Racing Series. So one of the tools that I like to use is Blood Horse. Blood Horse has a nice stallions and breeding section where we can look at sire list, and I've got the general sire list here pulled up. And what I want to look at though is I want to take a look at the California sire list here, and it's early 2018, so I'm gonna go back to 2017 just to kind of see what happened last year on this sire list, and I'm just kind of looking to see what they have. Now, obviously, Bluegrass Cat, Stay Thirsty, going to be too expensive to use in the series here. I'm not real familiar with Minister's Wildcat. He did have a stakes winner there, a black type winner. Square Eddie's probably too expensive. U.S. Rangers too expensive. Here's Vronsky, two stakes winners. We'll take a look at him. Grozen, nice, three stakes winners here. This is the black type column here, just so you're aware. This is graded stakes winners and the number of stakes races that those winners won. So that's three stakes winners last year for Grozen, two for Vronsky. And I'll kind of go down here. I want to get a couple of these runners. A lot of these guys still on the list aren't active anymore. Sluice Tisnow, three. So that's okay. So let's kind of take a look here in the sim and let's try and find some cost associated with them. And let's find Rosin here. So currently he's high. I can tell that because he's 10 points for the Damsdam sire slot that he's probably a 10 or 15 point sire. So that may be one that I want to choose, but he's a little high now, so I'm not going to purchase a sire share here in this particular breeding. So let's slide over. We got a couple of others to look at here. And this is page 2. And here's Sluice Tisnow. Sluice Tisnow is just 15 points, right in that. I like that price on the sire. We just want to take a look and see what he's done so far. Has not been used much in the last 2 years, just 12 runners in the last 2 years. Does have a graded placed runner. No stakes winners ever though, so that is, I don't know that I necessarily like that. But it's always fun to try to be the first, right? One of the things sometimes I'll do is I'll kind of click on the year and I'll just take a look and see what everybody else kind of paired them with. And you can see at the top you got some nice high price sires in there that they've paired him with, and not much success there. Just 5 runners last year, 2 winners, and not as high quality there. That's interesting. I still like him, even though this might turn a lot of people off. I feel like a sire that in real life is getting 3 black type winners probably is one that can produce a stakes winner in the system here in the game. I'm going to take a look at our other runner, and I've already actually bred to Vronsky a couple of times, so I'm less inclined to breed to him this time around. But he is a 29 point sire, so again, right in that wheelhouse of the price that I like to look for in a sire. He does, though, has produced a stakes winner. This is the one that I bred, Thornskia. He's stakes placed. If you just want to take a quick look at old Thornskia here. He's was a 3-year-old last year, racing in the Bargain Bred series. He's a 4-year-old this year. I'll let that thing load. I don't know what's going so long on that. But I think I'm going to go with Sluice Tisnow in this case. I do want to come over to Blood Horse a little bit, though. There's old Thornsky. So started off with a nice claim. That's another thing that I like about the Bargain Breds. Sometimes, these aren't great speed figures that he's running. I mean, he's in the 80s. Nobody's really wanting him. There's no worry when I drop him into a $150,000 claiming race that he's going to get claimed from me. Perhaps one of my competitors might look at him and want to go. But in this case, he got the season started off in the right way, so we'll see where that goes from there. Solid runner there for me. But come back over here, and I want to look at a couple of other years for California. I'm going to go back one more, and I just want to take a look at 2016 and view that list and take a look here. And we see a lot of the same types of horses. So Vronsky, top 10 again in there. Minister's Wildcat, I think, is a little too much. Let me just double check him real quick. I always like Sons of Deputy Minister. Sometimes I have good luck with them. Yeah, he's an 82 point sire, so it's not one I'm going to use for the series here. It might be one I use to pair with one of my mares later, though. That might be interesting to see what kind of runner we get here. Adam Grozen again in the 12th, 2 black type stake with winners. So I definitely want to use him at some point. And I'm not seeing Slews Tis Now in here. Got to go way on down here in 2016. So perhaps um, he last year was one of his first years. He may not have a lot of runners, so we'll take a look at that here. That's another thing that I like about uh, using Blood Horses. There is a stallion register, and many of the sires here do have a page that you can kind of go read, and I think he does. Let's see, I could be wrong here. He does. He's a little bit blue here, so we've got a link on him. So we'll just slide over to his sire page here, and we'll get to know a little bit about Slews Tis Now. He didn't enter stud till 2012, so being 2018 means he doesn't have a lot of older runners just yet hitting. So he could be a sire that's moving up a little bit, actually. And we can go through here and you can take a look and you can see some of his current runners and what they're doing. There you can see his leading runners. Man, lifetime earnings, these guys are just getting started here. This may be pretty risky using this type of a sire. Another thing that I like about Blood Horse is they'll sometimes have these statistical summaries for equine line here. And this will tell me how many crops he has. He's only got 4 crops of racing age, so not very many runners out there on the track, and only 107 foals. So it's not like he's got a ton of runners on the track, but he's already got 1 graded winner and 3 black type winners. And this will also kind of give you some average distance raced and stuff like this. I don't know that this specifically translates to the sim, but it's always nice to take a look at it. He's capable of creating a stakes winner, and so I think I'm going to use him here. Now, one of the other things that I'll use, or one of my other tools, I'll kind of get to it here in a second as I start to search through dam sires and everything here. I'm going to go ahead and close that out. I like Slews Tis Now, so I'm going to go ahead and purchase that sire share here real quick. And let's get down here to it. I'm just going to click on them here, and I'm going to use credits. You know, if you want to turn credits into breeding points, I think the best way to do that is to purchase or breed these really cheap runners for small amounts of credits, because you can earn some pretty nice BPs in return, even if they're not winning a ton of races. Just running second, third oftentimes can get you a lot here. So I'm going to use credits here to go with Slews Tis Now. And I now have that sire share there. So what am I going to pair him with? Just looking at his pedigree, and I'll click on his name here so we can kind of just get a better look at his pedigree. There's some Seattle Slews in there, a lot. In Reality relaunch line, I really like that one. Now, when I'm talking here about the pedigrees, keep in mind I am not a professional. I have no way, shape, or form someone who could advise anyone in real life on what to breed to. I'm just have poked around enough and learned enough here, messing around in the game, that I think I can talk about it with some confidence. There's probably definitely some more experienced people in real life with this stuff out there, but so if I get it wrong, guys, don't hold it against me too much. So I'm also assuming that you have a certain level of knowledge here when it comes to sire lines. I think I can probably try and do another video that just talks nothing about but sire lines to kind of bring really new people up to speed. But I'm going to assume here in this case that you have some level of knowledge here as we move forward building this pedigree together. So this outcross here, or this 5-generation pedigree, I should say, is free and clear of Northern Dancer and Mr. Prospector. And these are 2 big sire lines that have been a mainstay for years and years and years. And so I'm going to use those in my dam sire and dam sire slot, since this sire side doesn't have any of it at all. I tend to try to stay away from inbreeding a little, although I'm not against it. But in this case, I think it just fits well going Mr. Prospector and then Northern Dancer probably. So using my search tools here back in the sim, I'm going to slide over to Dam Sire. I'm going to use this 2X. That's going to be son of, and I'm going to put in Mr. Prospector here, and it does need a period, I believe. And we'll type his name in there. And I'm going to take California out because I want all locations. And let's hit update list. And we'll start to look through here. And I'm probably looking for something 40, 50, 60 points. I'll kind of, hopefully something will jump out at me here. And we'll take a look at a couple of them. Society Max kind of fits the profile here. 46 points. Mr. Prospector hoists the flag. Nice pedigree. If I don't know what Society Max did in real life, I can use another tool here. And this is pedigreequery.com. And I like it because it'll give you some information on some older sires. Society Max here. We'll just type him in. And we can see his pedigree here, but the little information button will give us a little bit more information. So he sired a grade 3 winner in real life there. Mostly raced in Arizona. Kind of tells you when he passed away there. He was unraced, so never hit the track. I'm probably not going to go with him. I'm going to slide over and just kind of keep scrolling down here and see if I can find a runner or a dam sire here that'll fit well with my pedigree. I do have, I'm always looking through sires, and I always will tag some, and I will, come back to them from time to time. So I'll kind of look through here, see if I can find something that looks good to me. And there's a ton of Mr. Prospector sires here, just so I'm going to go ahead and go on and take a look here at the next page, see if anything jumps out at me. And unfortunately, sometimes when you go page to page, it repeats some of the sires, like Rhodes was on that first page there. He's kind of one I might consider as well in here. Bold Ruler, I like this breeding. He actually produced a couple of graded winners, although his dam sire slot is pretty solid. 11 stakes winners, 3.8%. So that's definitely one I want to consider there. And let's look through here a little more. And I don't want to spend too much time in the video. In real life, I will probably spend a ton of time. Oh, Secret Claim. I like him a lot too. Let's take a look at Secret Claim. He's got Secretariat on the bottom. I like that. Didn't get any stakes winners as a sire, but he probably didn't get used too much as a sire. Only 55 runners. 5.6% is a dam sire. I really like that. Let's go over to Pedigree Query. I'm not familiar with Secret Claim. It always does that on this site here. We'll take a look here at Secret Claim. So he did hit the racetrack, 3 wins, not very much money. He stood in Texas. That's always a big plus for me. Died in 2008. I like the pedigree. I'm not certain on the real life aspect there, but I think I'm going to go ahead and grab him. And again, I'm going to grab him for credits. So it's 46 now to go with my 15. So I'm sitting at 60 points or so, 61 points, I guess, building towards my 120. So I can spend up to 59 points, essentially, in the dam sire slot. But again, I'm probably not going to look to fill all of those points. I think if I start to look for a sire that, pushes that 120 envelope, I'm probably not going about it the right way. I want to probably try to choose a sire that's going to better fit this pedigree. And when I do this at some points, I do like to go over to my shares, and I do like to go ahead and select them. And one of the nice things here is I can use the 5x here, and it'll kind of give me a picture of the pedigree here as I'm working through it, as I'm going along here. And I can kind of see where things line up if I want to inbreed or anything. But yeah, I think Northern Dancer, Son of Northern Dancer will fit really well in here. I'm going to go ahead and close that. So I'm going to go back to Find Sires. And I'm looking for a DDS. And I want a Son of Northern Dancer. And let's see what we get here. Again, I can spend up to 60 points or 59 points. And I'm looking in this column here for Dam's Dam. Looking through here, and we'll take a look and see what we got. There's Lucky North, Cresta Rider. Let's take a look at Lucky North here. Lucky North, 2.8% there. I'm not real familiar with them, so I'm going to come over here, take a look at old Lucky North. Did it again, didn't I? All right. He was born in 1981. So 20 starts, 4 wins, only 117,000. It's not very much there. He was stakes winner, looks like there. He had 2 wins in the UK, so a little bit of turf influence there, I would say. Dam sire of a grade 1 of Lady Tack. That's pretty good. That's good thing for Lucky North. All right, let's take another look here. I could spend more, but I kind of liked him. I kind of like Cresta Rider here, maybe. 31 points. I've used him before, and we'll maybe take a look at him again. Man, another 5.7 here on the stakes winning percentage in a Dam Sire slot. For me, I'll also translate to the Dam Sire slot. We got some stamina here. We're going to have a little bit of inbreeding, I think, in our pedigree, which might be just fine. Let's take a look at Cresta Rider over here on Pedigree Query. Let's take a look. And my S key just doesn't want to type today. There we go. 4 wins, 9 starts, 174,000, solid. Let's see. Grade 2 winner. Looks like we got a multiple grade 2 and a grade 3 winner, placing in grade 1s. Ended up wasn't Kentucky, went to Chile. Raced overseas. I kind of like that. Giving me maybe a little bit of turf influence on the pedigree a little bit. I think I'm going to go with old Cresta Rider, even though I can spend more points. I think I am going to go with him. I will just kind of take one glance down here. Danzator. See, I don't like that 1.1% and 182 and just 2 stakes winners. I'm not a huge fan of that. Yeah, I think I'll just cut some time here and we'll go Cresta Rider. And I will grab his Dam Sire slot here and go ahead and get that going. So now I've got the 3 sires for my pedigree. Now at this point, for the Bargain Bred Racing Series, I want to go ahead and take a screenshot of these sire shares. This is my proof of cost. And one of the tools you can use to do this is built into Windows. I'm using Windows 10. It comes with a tool called Snipping Tool. So if I come down to my Start button, and I don't have a search on my bar, a lot of you may. I'm not a fan of it. But if I right-click, I can go to search here on my machine. And I guess it's not popping up over here. Well, let me just pull it up. Trust me, it's popping up on my other screen, I think, that you can't see. So we'll go ahead and I'll just pull up the snipping tool here. But just go to search, type in snip. It'll probably be the first thing. It'll say snipping tool. And this is the snipping tool here. And it comes in kind of a little box. And you just go to new. And then you kind of graze out your whole screen. And what we're going to do with this square is we're going to cut out the part of the screen we want to capture. So I'm probably just going to go ahead and grab all the top part here. And I'm just going to hold down. I'm going to click and hold and drag this thing over and grab all that right there. And then when I let go, it's going to put it into my snipping tool for me. This is my screenshot, my proof of purchases. And I want to save this. I'm not sure what name I'm going to come up with, but let's call it Slew's Claim for right now. I don't know, that may already be taken, but we'll go to save as here, and I'm going to call him Slew's Claim. And you can see I can't type very well. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. And I can go ahead and get rid of that. Now I've got it saved. If you're breeding a lot of runners for the Bargain Bred Racing Series, I would suggest doing this for each runner. I do. I keep them all on hand in case anybody says, hey, Morgan, that doesn't look like a Bargain Bred. I'll have it there for everyone to see, because I do like to run runners in this series as well. So now that I've got these guys, I've got them selected, I've got my screenshot, I'm ready to go over to scratch breeding. And this is where the scratch bred fun happens. I'm going to go to Slew's Claim and see if that will pass the name box, so to speak. If you spend extra credits on preferring a male or female, I don't have any problem with that because the actual cost of the pedigree is less than 120 points. But it's 250 points to do that. I don't know if anybody who'd really want to do that with a cheaply bred runner. But anyway, it's a zero cost here because we're not breeding to a mare at this point. We've already paid for all of our sire shares. And so now we're ready to just breed the horse. And hey, we get that name. So I've now bred Slew's Claim. He is now a bargain bred runner ready for bargain bred racing. So at this point, I would want to email Morgan or myself. So you want to go over to our message board because this is where we do nominations. So I'm going to take you back over to the main site. If you go to About Us, it'll take you over to our message board. And you're going to want to sign up or register for me. We had some spammers attack the board not too long ago, and so I require everybody to register. And then I'll approve the registry. Sometimes it takes me a little bit, 24 hours maybe is what I check it about once a day, so we can get a good one for you. And so you'll come into the nomination threads, like maybe I want to nominate him here for the March 31st races. Nominations are due the Sunday before, and these are the races that are happening that day. So I just bred a 2-year-old, and I'm going to nominate him to one of these. And the way that you would nominate him is these guys will kind of show you here. You can kind of look and see what other people do. They'll copy the list of races and then come back in and add the names of the horses that they want to enter into the races. There are a couple of different ways, but this is how you'll nominate runners to come into the races here for the Bargain Bred Racing Series. Again, once you get here, I'll be happy to send you my email address so you can email me the screenshot that you took of the sire costs. Typically, if it's an obvious bargain like 10-point sire, 10-point dam sire, 10-point dam sire, you don't have to screenshot that. Those are really easy for me to say, yes, that's definitely a bargain. But if you're breeding, above 80 points, I would always get a screenshot of those sire shares. I always, in the old game, I would talk about freshman sire rule. Freshman sire shares tend to fluctuate a ton in that first year. So anytime you are using a freshman sire for a runner in the Bargain Bred Racing Series, I just ask that you please screenshot that, because those are always the hardest for me to verify as far as cost go and all that good stuff. So we bred our runner. We come over to the message board to nominate to the races. I send out passwords the Sunday before the races, sometimes a little earlier, just kind of depends on how my work week's going and everything. And the series is a lot of fun. This is a good time to jump in with us. As you can see, we have 8 maiden races. Offspring races, you'll kind of learn about later as a new person, though. Don't worry about those offspring races. Our schedule, again, is up here on our message board. and we go all throughout the year. So we're kicking things off here in Mexico. This is one of the only times we have back-to-back weeks. Our 3-year-old races start here in April, and then we start kicking through May. And again, as you can see, we just have tons of maidens. This is always a good time to get in on the series. It's a ton of fun trying to breed a good runner from humble beginnings. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope maybe you learned a little bit of something about breeding, maybe a little bit of something about some of the tools that are available to look at, see what horses did in real life. I did forget one thing over here on the on Pedigree Query. Under reports, you can actually go and take a look at progeny, and you can see what they did in real life, and you can even sort this list by broodmare sire. And we can see when Cresta Rider was a sire, what he got bred to a lot. And so sometimes this will help you determine, or helps me determine, what I might look for sire line wise when I'm pairing up with a sire or something. But again, a neat thing, it is sortable here. I can go to earnings and I can kind of look and see his top earners. Of course, when you have runners that run in different countries, earning different types of currency, this isn't always really accurate. But again, another helpful tool. Perhaps I'll come back and do some more just basic breeding where I might break down pedigrees, something along those lines. Hope you enjoyed. You guys have a great day.